on, Foxy. It's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
Buenas noches, hola y bienvenidos a nuestro episodio de octubre de Moana Nui presenta Geek Speak On Sports. Tenemos programa maravilloso para ustedes esta noche. Esperamos que lo disfruten y siempre habrá travesuras. No, tu botón SAP no está roto, sino extendiste lo que acabo de decir. Tienes 4 meses para resolverlo. Mucha suerte durante el Super Bowl. How you doing, sir? What's good?
Are you Bad Bunny 2.0?
What's good?
Okay.
There will be no translation for what I said prior. You figure it out. There's Duolingo and Google Translate.
I'm a bit rusty, but I know I was following you. I'm a bit rusty, though. I'm just like, he's really doing this.
Mi hablo español un poquito. Tell y'all that all the time.
Your Spanish is better than mine, sir. It's better than mine.
Okay.
I understand it better than I can speak it.
It takes some practice, which is why, every now and then I dabble back into it. Even though the main thing I'm studying right now is Japanese. So, and for those who are confused by the opening, when we get to the NFL, you'll fully understand. Stick around towards the end of the show.
Oh goodness. I am, however, to answer your question, good sir, I am exceptionally well. I don't know what's going on, but I feel pretty damn good today.
Well, with the state of affairs in the real world, sports is pretty much where we go to at least feel some type of joy in our lives. For those of you who do follow the I'll just start out with this. Yes, we do cover other sports. If you do follow Major League Baseball, the playoffs are currently going on right now. We're in the divisional round. I know the Yankees recently came back in their series. It's now 2-1 against Toronto. I don't think none of our teams are in the playoffs, are they? No Washington, no Atlanta, no Mets.
No, sir. Not this year.
Not this year.
We're all at home on the couch watching.
Right. Toronto's currently beating the Yankees right now as we speak, 2-1 in the top of the 5th. Detroit already beat Seattle. That series is tied at 2. Chicago currently leads Milwaukee 2-1. And the Dodgers are up on the Phillies 2-0. The Phillies might get swept. That's all I'm going to say about that one. The Phillies might break out that broom because game 1, I believe, was started by what's the dude's name? Why am I blanking on his name? He plays both ways. He's a pitcher and a hitter for the Dodgers. I should know his name, but I don't follow baseball like that. So
I know who you're talking about, but yeah, I can't. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name right now.
Shohei Ohtani. I know somebody's in the comments probably yelling at me like, you should know his name. Like, no, not really. I ain't followed baseball since 1999. I'm going to be real about it. I poke my head in every now and then when Washington's playing well, which is probably like, 2 seasons of the last 20-something years?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, 2 seasons because they won the World Series and another time they went to the playoffs.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say you're not playing well if you don't make it to the playoffs.
Yes, you are. Considering how expanded the Major League Baseball playoffs have become over the last decade, if you don't at least make the playoffs, you're not doing well. They understand they do a one game wild card, or a 1 game end of season thing for the 2 bottom teams in the wild card to determine the wild card. Then they have the wild card round, which is the best of 3. Then the divisional round, and then the championship series before they get to the World Series.
Them adding that wild card round has been kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's been an interesting shift in baseball, and it just kind of has me wondering what's going to be the next major thing in baseball to change.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't know how much further they're going to go, because if they keep expanding the regular season or the playoffs, they're going to push into November.
Yeah.
It's bad enough the season starts now in the middle of March when it's still cold in some cities. Remember, baseball used to open up on tax day, April 15th, for those who are confused. Used to start on tax day. That used to be opening day for Major League Baseball, April 15th. And then they push it back to the beginning of April, and then they push it back to the end of March. So if you are a fan of a team that plays in one of the northern cities like New York, Chicago, Milwaukee, and they got home games, and most of these teams still play outdoors, don't be confused if you see snowfall. It happens. It happens.
Sometimes it happens.
Also, National Hockey League started last night. Couple of with the triple header games that were on ESPN. The reigning Stanley Cup champions Panthers did win their opener. So if you follow hockey and you care about that type of thing, but I'm gonna stop delaying and get right into the good stuff. Currently, right now, the WNBA finals are going on between the Vegas Aces and the Phoenix Mercury. Vegas is up 2-0 and currently leading as we speak right now, 36-29 in the second quarter. I won't be surprised if Vegas sweeps this series, but the big news was not this final series. It was not what's been happening in the playoffs, though. What's been happening in the playoffs has been pretty wild if you follow. The big news, the really big news has been the ongoing or pending discussions of the CBA and the Players Association, because for those who have not been paying attention, or you've been missing a couple of shows here and there while we've been mentioning it over the last couple of months, especially during the crux of the WNBA season, the CBA ends October 31st, Halloween. Yeah, the end of this month, the current CBA ends. And if you were under a rock last week, you probably won't understand what these four people have in common. I start by saying, if you know, you know, but we got Tupac, Nas, Kendrick Lamar, and the young lady there in the bottom right corner of the screen is one Nafisa Collier. She is the VP of the WNBA PA. And during her exit interview last week, I believe it was Wednesday afternoon, 2 days before the finals started on Friday, she gave a scathing speech about the leadership in the WNBA, specifically calling out the commissioner of the league, Cathy Engelbert. The most glaring things that she said, two most glaring things that stand out, was her quoting or paraphrasing, if you will, Cathy Engelbert in the conversation they had earlier this year during the Unrivaled season. Unrivaled is the league that Nafisa Collier and Breonna Stewart of the New York Liberty started. It's a 3-on-3 basketball league that took place earlier this year in March and April. Cathy was there. At one point, her and Nafisa had a conversation, and Nafisa let some of the more egregious things that Cathy said out into the public. The two most glaring things were that the players should be on their knees thanking her for the media rights deal that she just signed to get more broadcasting for the league, and that Caitlin Clark should be lucky she plays in the WNBA, because without it, she wouldn't have a platform to earn $16 million in endorsements. Let's take that second thing first. Whatever Caitlin's endorsement number is right now, because I'm pretty sure it's more than 16 million. She's been earning that since she was in Iowa with NIL deals, because she's had pretty much almost all of those deals, with the exception of the Nike deal she signed her rookie year in the WNBA.
Yeah.
That was probably like the only major deal she did not have while she was in college. And I may be misspeaking on that one, but let's not get it twisted. Caitlin's NIL deals carried right on over into the WNBA.
I didn't realize she made that much from her NIL deals, though. I mean, I knew she was making bank. I didn't realize it was that much.
I mean, considering rookies make 75 a year, on their rookie deals for what I believe, and the rookie contracts, I believe, are 3 years.
Yeah.
So take that into account. Here's something that I stumbled across last week as well. ESPN dropped an article about where each of the teams currently, basically all the teams that are not currently playing right now, so everybody but Vegas and Phoenix, listed what their next steps are going into the offseason, CBA notwithstanding, as if like we're definitely going to have a season next year. What should they do? Come to find out, of the remaining 11 teams, because it's a 13-team league, of the remaining 11 teams that are currently not playing, 9 of them have 80% of their roster currently as free agents.
Whew, that's a lot of free agents. Now, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Do you know what percentage are unrestricted?
The vast majority of them are unrestricted.
Okay.
The vast majority. The only ones who are not unrestricted are those who are coming off rookie deals at the end of this season. So the players who were drafted 3 years ago, whose contract, like if this is their 3rd year in the league, that's the end of their rookie deal. They're now restricted free agent based on, draft position and everything, provided they weren't traded as well. So rookies who were drafted over the last 2 years, we're talking about our Paige Beckers, our Angel Reese, our Caitlin Clark. They're still on the contract. They ain't going nowhere. But your vets, so understand that all these players knew what was coming and signed deals so that everybody was going to be a free agent because they knew what was going to happen. All right. And look, Kathy, the next day, released a statement addressing Napheesa Collier's press conference. And let's just say it was about as bland as raisins and potato salad. The main thing that stuck out was her claiming that, she was disheartened that her and Napheesa had a difference of opinion. Not that what Napheesa said was wrong or inaccurate or anything like that. No, the statement itself said that she was disheartened that they had a difference of opinion as far as the state of the league and relations between the union and leadership, right? Because Napheesa also went on to say that the WNBA has the best fans in the world, the best players in the world, but the worst leadership in the world. And to say that the WNBA has the worst leadership in the world with what's going on in the real world right now
is wow.
Yeah. Understatement, sir. Understatement. Your thoughts on everything that popped off last week in the dub?
I won't be surprised if this is if we end up with a strike. I won't be the least bit surprised. Now, the other thing that will be interesting is when the NBA went on strike, and we had all these commercials about please come back and play. What is going to be? I don't know if I want to call it the fallout, but how is it going to look? Will there be the same sort of desire and demand that the players come back and play? Again, will there be Nike commercials?
Let's put it this way: those currently endorsed by Nike, I mean, look, your endorsement deals ain't going nowhere. Folks are still going to get their endorsement deals are guaranteed. That's guaranteed money. They going to get paid. But you're talking about what the top 10, 12% superstars, like all the superstars in the league, are still going to get their endorsement deals. Those who have other platforms who are not superstars, they're fine. You're talking about that bottom third, of players. Understand that Brianna and Napheesa created the Unrivaled League so that they wouldn't have to go overseas to play after what happened with Brittany Griner, right? Because that's still a damning thing that this league is 27 going on 28 years old, and our players still don't make the majority of players don't make enough money outside of endorsements,
right,
to pretty much stay stateside. They have to go overseas, and mind you, when they go overseas and play, they're making millions a year. They're not making like a few $100,000. No, the top players who decide to go, like Brittany's contract over where she was playing in Russia, I'm pretty sure it was paying her like somewhere between $1 and $5 a year.
Yeah,
it wasn't no couple of $100,000. She was making millions. So who turns that down?
And I truly believe one of the biggest hindrances to these women getting paid what they should be paid is the TV deal, the percentage off the TV deal. Because
that's going to be the main sticking point, because while everyone's up in arms saying like, well, they don't deserve as much money as the NBA, no one's saying that.
The only people saying that are, to quote Jamel Hill when she was talking about the story that I'm going to talk about later, the only people who said that are the people who read, who use their finger to keep their place in the book when they read.
Yep.
Those are the people who said that. Because anybody who pays any amount of attention to what goes on with the WNBA knows that those ladies are not saying we demand what the men are getting. They demand a more equitable share of what they generate, which they should. They should definitely get a more equitable share, because they're getting less than MMA, and I think MMA is getting what, like 9 or 10%. I forget what the number is.
It's double digits. They're not. WNBA is not getting double digits. Like their share of the revenue is like 8 or 9%. And they're not looking for much. Right. They deserve a lot more. And honestly, from all the reporting I've seen, they're only looking for like 15 to 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is, so it's not like they're looking for like, like 50%, which everyone, the people, again, who don't know what the hell they're talking about keeps talking, well, they don't deserve half. They're not asking for half. Ain't nobody over there asking for half, but they do want more because they understand where the growth of the league is going, especially over the last 5 years. Yeah. Specifically the last 5 years, because let's keep it a buck. What got me hyped is for, like, I was passively watching games here and there with the W up until 5 years ago. When Vegas won and Asia was on the podium talking about, Usher, we coming to your concert.
I remember that.
Right? We showing up. Usher, we going to be in the house. You better be there.
And then he shows up at the finals this year.
Because he had a residency then. From that point forward, he was going. The whole team went. He fed Asia strawberries. That's what, everybody was bringing up the whole Boondocks thing with Tom.
Oh my God, I forgot. Yes, they did.
Because that ain't your girl no more. That's Usher's girl for the night. Like that bravado, that passion, that was something like what Asia did is something we hadn't seen, or at least I hadn't seen in the WNBA for a long, long time. Everything was pretty much by the book, status quo. Yeah, we won. She brought a different energy to winning in that league to make it more exciting. So I got invested again. Like, it rejuvenated my love for the league, because I always wanted this league to succeed. And I knew it was going to look. It was never going to be an overnight success thing, and the growth they were supposed to have probably after the first decade of running didn't happen for all sorts of stupid reasons. I'm pretty sure you all remember that when Joy was on and Qiana were talking about why the Houston Comets no longer exist, and they spoke about that in length. That's a very stupid reason. Like, the Houston Comets, one of your flagship franchises, one of the first 8 teams of this league, no longer exists. And it's crazy because I think New York, I'm trying to remember, I think 3 of the original 8 teams are all that's left. 3 of the other original 8 moved, which is why they have their different names. But 2 of them just flat out.
Charlotte Sting, Cleveland Rockers, Houston Comets, LA Sparks, New York Liberty, Phoenix Mercury, Sacramento Monarchs, and the Utah Stars were our original teams.
So that's 4 teams, because New York, Phoenix, LA, and who's the fourth one that you said?
Wait, say that what it was?
New York, Phoenix, LA. That's 3. And there was a 4th team you mentioned. What? Not Sacramento, because Sacramento moved. The Sting moved.
Phoenix.
And Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, Phoenix.
So, I said Phoenix. New York, Phoenix, and LA were the 3 teams I mentioned.
Yeah, sorry, you did.
But yeah, either way, it's a travesty that all those other 5 teams mentioned either folded or moved so many times that you don't remember who they are now.
Right.
Because Connecticut Sun technically was an original team, but I forgot where they moved from. The Vegas Aces used to be the Dallas Stars. Sacramento also moved.
Yep.
The Cleveland Rockers folded. So yeah, you had 2 teams that folded, and the other 3 pretty much moved. That's your original 8. Like that's crazy. That should not be a thing.
It was Utah. Utah became the Vegas
Utah
Aces. Utah became the Vegas Aces. That was the 4th team.
Yeah, Utah moved to San Antonio and then to Vegas. Yeah. Utah Stars. Sorry. So yes.
I don't know. We're good.
But that's not a thing that should happen. Like the growth that should have happened with this league should have been gradual over time. Here we are almost 30 years later, and we're pretty much very close to where we were at square one. And when ESPN got the initial rights deal at the time, the person who was over programming at ESPN pretty much wanted to, because this article exists, and it's an ESPN article. This person wanted to kill the WNBA. His sole purpose was to not show games or bury them on ESPN2 where no one was watching, so that it would drive viewership down, and he would have a reason to not show games. Like that hurt as well.
Stupid. That's
right.
Stupid.
And if you're wondering if he was, yes, he was a white man.
Because the more successful the WNBA is, the more light we get to shed on women's basketball and quite possibly women's sports, period. Absolutely. And to want that to fail, that's just stupid. I hope whoever that is got fired and is...
Well, he's no longer in that position, thank goodness.
I'm hoping he's... Never mind, let me stop. Not say bad things about people.
No, say the bad things. One more thing I want to talk about with the WNBA is this is the lovely Miss Monica McNutt, who is contributor, columnist, on-screen personality for the WNBA, covers games, runs studio shows, was on First Take the day after Nafisa Collier dropped her diss track on Kathy Engelbert. And it happened to be the day that Mad Dog Mike Russo was there. For those who don't know, Mad Dog Mike Russo is a New York radio personality. He used to have a show called Mike and Mad Dog in the Morning. Those two split up. It was like one of the top sports shows of all time. To say Mad Dog is from a bygone era of old school sports thinking is a gross understatement. Yeah. Because when they were talking about having discussion about Nafisa's statements, he starts with, "I really don't follow the WNBA." He should have stopped right there and not spoke any further.
That was all he needed to say.
Because everything he said afterwards was completely asinine and stupid. Because if you're going to start off with, "I don't really follow the WNBA. I've only watched like 4 games all season." And if you pay attention to him, there's a reason he only watched 4 games all season. I'm going to get to that shortly. Don't say anything. Like, you have no credence. You have no credibility. It's a league you purposely don't follow. for reasons. And to piggyback and go back on why he only probably watched 4 games this season, because he has pretty much vehemently said he's only watching for Caitlin Clark, who only played 13 games this year of 44. So yeah, he's one of those. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of Caitlin Clark, but don't pretend to have knowledge of the league if you're only watching Caitlin Clark and nothing else.
To me, that's not a fan of the WNBA. That is a fan of Caitlin Clark, which I am very okay with people only being fans of Caitlin Clark.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
But say that so that when we have these discussions of the league as a whole, we don't include you.
So, but yeah, like I said, I want nothing but the best for the WNBA. All I know is at this point, the players union, because other players the day after Fee dropped her pipe bomb, all came out in support of her. No discontent whatsoever. Everybody from, who spoke later in the week because their teams had just ended their playoff runs. Players who didn't even make the playoffs were tweeting about it. Everybody's on one accord, like, Kathy's got to go. And apparently the big news this week that popped off early was that Nafisa and the leadership or Nafisa specifically, or leadership of the Players Association, was supposed to have a meeting with Kathy Engelbert. And they called it off because basically they don't want to sit across from a table with Kathy Engelbert. And it's gotten to the point to where the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, has had to jump in and make statements, because this is something that most people probably don't know. Kathy Engelbert was appointed commissioner of the WNBA by Adam Silver and the NBA. I want you to understand that. She was not appointed by a vote of the owners of the teams currently in the league. So remember that some time ago, because of the financial struggles, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. Yes, the league did struggle with some financial issues for a while. The NBA stepped in to help. But that stepping in to help gave them certain rights and privileges, which some are beneficial.
Right.
This one, not so much, because
it might be time to revisit those benefits.
Them being able to appoint the commissioner of this league, I don't agree with that. I really don't, because you have someone who is not in favor of I won't say the league itself, but they're not on the side of ownership and they're not on the side of the players.
Right.
And that's the issue when you have a commissioner who pretty much that pretty much is how negotiations break down in all sports leagues, owners versus players. And the commissioner normally falls on one side or the other, mainly because he or she is appointed by the owners of said league.
Yeah, see, to me, the NBA commissioner Silver, he should only get a vote if there's a tie. That should be the only way the NBA comes in and makes a decision on the WNBA's commissioner, is if there's a tie on the vote as to who the owners want.
Well, considering there's an odd number right now of teams, ties probably not likely, but
is it? No, okay, yeah, that's right.
13 teams currently.
It is an odd number. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And there's going to be what? Let's not. And for people saying like the leagues ain't making no money, you haven't been paying attention.
Right, they're making. I mean, they're making money that they're expanding.
5 new teams, all of them were like at minimum $200 million was the buying. That was the purchase price. So you're talking about $1 billion paid for 5 teams that are coming over the next 5 years. Because there's going to be 5 teams by 2030. So we're going to go from 13 to 18. Right.
Although I'm kind of surprised that they've got that they stayed with an odd number. I would have thought they don't want to. Never mind. Sorry. Getting off topic.
So if you believe that there's no money in the league, you on drugs, and I want your edibles, because
again, these are the people who read with their fingers.
So, but yeah. Other than that, the only other thing that stuck out towards the end of the WNBA season was the fact that there was co-defensive player of the year, which made no sense. And to the 29 writers who made that faux pas, and like at least one of you didn't vote Asia Wilson outright, it's crazy that you voted for the other for Alana Smith. And again, Alana Smith is a very good player, but we ain't handing out participation awards. And I feel like everybody who grew up with participation trophies is trying to make that a thing now that they're adults wielding some modicum of power. Like we award the best because they are the best. We don't single out somebody else because, oh, well, they're playing pretty well. That's not the best player. Like Alana Smith played very good team defense this year. Minnesota was the number one defense as far as team defense. The best individual defensive player was Asia Wilson. Let's not get that twisted. So for 58 writers, 29 to vote Asia and 29 to vote Alana Smith is criminal. And like I said earlier this year, when the NFL awards came out for All Pro and MVP because of what happened with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, same thing applies here. Those 29 people who voted for Alana Smith need to have a frontal lobotomy, some type of brain exam, or have their their voting rights taken away. Because we can't keep doing this in sports. Like the people who vote need to take this seriously, like, and stop playing around. Because a lot of times, and I get it, sometimes there's politics involved, but you're messing around with legacies and putting people up on pedestals where they don't need to be. So again, Alana Smith is a wonderful player. She ain't the best defensive player in the league. And she did not play well enough to earn anything. You want to put her on the all defensive team? Cool. Put her on the all defensive team. But for 29 of you to look at that and be like, yeah, she's the best defensive player over what Asia did this season, led the league in blocks and was second in steals, and was number one in opponents' field goal percentage when D'ing them up one-on-one. Yeah, I got nothing. So
I don't know what to tell you. I blame whatever mind-altering substances they're consuming.
Let's get into a little bit of shenanigans, which we've already started. But
shenanigans
you finally watched
good.
Quarterback.
Yes, and what I and for the audience.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
Puff, pass.
And for the audience, what I did was, since I did not watch Quarterback at all, I binged seasons 1 and season 2, which I'm glad I did because of what happened with Marcus Mariota.
Season 1, yeah,
season 1. I have always held the belief that Atlanta is a very fickle sports town.
Yes.
Number one, Atlanta is not a sports city.
True.
We are a city that happens to have sports teams. Atlanta is a city where you come for either to go to school or because your job sent you here. We've got some great gentlemen's clubs and a pretty good nightlife. But sports teams, as much as I love my Atlanta teams, nobody comes to Atlanta for these teams. You know, a lot of people move here and they don't. A lot of people move. Obviously, I'm not expecting anybody to change their fandom, but a lot of people will move here and won't even acknowledge that the teams exist. They will continue to support their own teams, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There you go. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the Atlanta fans will turn their backs in a heartbeat when the teams aren't doing well. And to me, you're not a fan if you do that. All of that to say, Marcus Mariota his play started to slump. And he got benched. Oh, I can't think of who we put in of the backup at the time. Desmond Ritter. It was Ritter. It was Desmond Ritter. And I love when we drafted Desmond Ritter because I loved his attitude. I loved the bravado he had. He just did not have the talent to back up that bravado because he said he wasn't leaving Atlanta until he won multiple Super Bowls. Again, I love the bravado. I love it because I'm sorry, you can't play football and be timid.
True.
You've got to be a big macho dude who beats on his chest and at times drags your knuckles in the ground. You can't be timid and play football. But so when Mariota got benched, we find out that he got hurt. And that was pretty much the end of his season. And he started treatment for his, I forget what his injury was, but he started treatment for the injury and he ended up having to have surgery. The way the Atlanta sports media portrayed it was as if the dude gave up on the team when he got benched and just disappeared. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, one, that's BS because as media, you've got access to so much information about these players. You probably know what's going on with them before some of them know what's going on with them. So to draw up this narrative that he just gave up on the team and disappeared, I was very, very disappointed in Atlanta sports media when they started to spin that narrative. There's one station in particular, I'm not going to call them out because I don't know if I'll get us into any trouble for calling this station out.
But, I know the station you're talking about.
They're the station. I'll just say that, Big Hugh Douglas used to work for them and he's gone now. So if you know anything about Atlanta sports media, he's back in Philly? Okay,
yes, he is.
Good.
Because him working for that station was punishment for something he did in Philly.
Wait, did it have anything to do with Michael Smith?
I don't think so.
But you remember the encounter with him and Michael Smith?
So real quick, Hugh Douglas is back at the station he used to work for in Philly. Nice. But he did something that got him. So he said something on air that got him in trouble. And they were like, you got to go.
Okay.
So that's why he was down here in Atlanta doing sports radio. And then recently he came back to the same station that told him you got to go for a little bit. And now he's back up in Philly for the same station that told him you got to go for a little bit.
And having listened to him for a number of years down here, I don't know what it is that he said, but I wholeheartedly believe that he said it because he does not hold his tongue. If he thinks that you are crap, he is going to say that you are crap. And again, I like that about a journalist. Don't sugarcoat it. If somebody is bad,
he's a former player, so.
Absolutely, yeah. When somebody is bad, you got to let them know. But Atlanta sports media, that station in particular, is not good at all.
They say getting people riled up.
Yeah. When we when we signed Kirk Cousins, the station's narrative was, Kirk is going to be this wonderful person and he's going to come in and save the team and all of this foolishness. And at one point, they were having people call into the station to get their opinion on what happened. Dude, I sat there and I called in back to back for like 15 minutes because I was like, oh, y'all gonna listen to me. And I kind of told him, I was like, wait, y'all are spinning this narrative over a dude who's been in the league for like 13, 14 years and has won one playoff game. He's 35 years old and is coming back off of a hamstring injury. And you think he's going to be the lifeblood of the team? Seriously? Really? And then they started talking about, his stats. And I was like, the majority of that man's stats come in garbage time.
They love to bring up his stats when people talk about the accolades that he's lacking, which is pretty much all of them.
Again, one playoff win. People, you can say what you want to about Cam Newton and him not making that dive for that ball in the Super Bowl. He made it to the Super Bowl, which is a lot further than Kirk will ever make it. So issue number one, I think that the story that they spun against Mariota was it was shitty. They did not have to do that man dirty like that. Because again, they had access to all the same information that the people for the Netflix, that the show Quarterback had access to. Maybe they didn't have access to it as soon as the show did, obviously, because the show was following him around and filming him, but they had access to all the same information. So they had to have known the man got hurt. He needs surgery. So that was just that. Oh, that just pisses me off to no end. Then we get to season 2 with Kirk Cousins.
Man.
I don't know what happened in the off time between season 1 and season 2, but
a whole nother season of football.
Well, no, I mean, yes, obviously, but their production values got increased a lot because season 1 was, hey, there's this cool new show called Quarterback that we're gonna watch. Season 2, you get to the interviews and it looks like stock footage from the real world. I'm sitting up there looking at it and I'm like, what in the, like, I don't know if it was just an upgrade in their equipment, their light. There was some major upgrades from season 1 to season 2 in the production value of the show.
I'm pretty sure Netflix threw more money at him.
Yeah. So then we get to season 2 with Kirk Cousins. The thing that irritated me about this was when they talked about the Falcons drafting Michael Penix. And Kirk talking about he felt blindsided. And I'm like, dude, number one, you knew
you're coming off an Achilles. You're going to be 36.
Yeah. You're coming off an Achilles. You know how your last season of play was, and you think you're going to be the future of an NFL team?
At 36.
No. At 36? Of course they're going to draft a quarterback.
They'd be dumb not to.
You can debate whether or not that year was the right year to draft a quarterback. To me, that's a perfectly reasonable debate to have. But to think that they weren't going to draft the young future of the team is just idiotic. It's just idiotic. The one thing that I used to like about Kirk Cousins was
you actually like something about Kirk Cousins?
Actually, no. Actually, I did. So throughout the show, he seems like a person who's always kind of evaluating his performance or how he performed, and he legitimately felt to me, it legitimately felt like he was trying to do better every week. It really felt like he was. Then we start to get where his play starts to degrade, and he's talking to Coach Morris about him not doing well and whatnot. And there's something that he said where I forget the exact wording, but essentially it was, as long as he shows up and can participate in practice, he thinks he's ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'm no, dude.
That's that veteran cachet he has because he's been in the league so long that his coach is going to give him. And pretty much any coach in the league would have given him that. I
really needed it. And this is where my lack of knowledge of what happens with the internal workings shows. Why are players who come back from injury not constantly being checked out throughout the course of the season, especially something like an Achilles heel injury? He talked about I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because at that point where he's talking about coach is going to let him play as long as he shows up to practice, that wasn't the Achilles that was the issue at that point.
It was his elbow,
shoulder, whatever. It was his throwing arm. Yeah.
which to me,
which he was hiding.
right. And at that point, he was no longer this honest dude who was looking at himself and trying to do better. At that point, he's this trifling mofo who's just trying to keep his job. You are a trifling mofo who's trying to keep your job at the expense of the team's performance. And that to me is really bothersome, because from a fan's perspective, I care more about the name on the front of the jersey than the name on the back of the jersey. And I do get the player side of the argument of, I got to get mine because as soon as I get hurt, they're going to replace me. So I completely understand that. But as a fan, I care more about the name on the front of the jersey. I want to see the Falcons do well. If that means Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, fine. If that means Michael Penix is the quarterback, fine. Whoever is the best person to be that quarterback for that team is who should be there. So I was very disappointed with Kirk Cousins when he hid that injury and he knew he was hurt and should have stepped down. But again, he said something that he heard from not Drew Brees, Rodgers. Don't you give up
Aaron Rodgers.
Don't you give up your starting position, because you'll never get it back. Again, there's that it's all about me and not about the team mentality, which, again, I get it. You got to get in there and get your money and do what you can while you can, because if you get hurt, the team is going to replace you. So I bear no ill will for players who are trying to get their money. Where I do have ill will is when you put you above the team. Because at that point, dude, you're on a $100 million guaranteed contract. Go sit your old behind down and let somebody else run the team. And again, you know what I said where they messed up? They should have went and got Russell Wilson on a minimum veterans deal and then gotten Fields, because I still wholeheartedly believe Russell Wilson as quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, we would have definitely won the NFC South. And then you get Fields to sit behind a Super Bowl winning quarterback to learn for a year, maybe 2 years, and you turn the reins over to him. But they didn't do that. They were all in on Kirk Cousins for some reason. Dumbasses. So now I'm mad. So
you're still not out your system, I can tell.
I finally watched Quarterback. And it's a good show. I really do like it.
Yes, it is. It is very well done.
While I was watching, I saw that there's also a wide receiver show.
Yes.
I don't know how many seasons in they are, and I don't know who's on it, but as good as Quarterback has been, I think I'm going to watch wide receiver next.
Yeah, except it's not all wide receivers. There's some tight ends in there too, because I believe receiver is Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Kittles, I think Jamar Chase, and one other person. I can't remember, because it's five people, and I know two of them are from Frisco.
Okay, and it's only one season so far?
Yeah, it's only one season.
Okay. Yeah, I may go watch that next, because again, as good as Quarterback was, now I want to go check out wide receiver. But yes, I can say yes. I should have watched Quarterback by now. It was a damn good show. But again, in the beginning, I thought it was a documentary, something that I could just sit one Saturday and watch. No, it's a 2-season. I think each season was 8 episodes long, if I'm not mistaken.
6 or 8 episodes, yeah.
Yeah. So no, if you haven't seen Quarterback and you're an NFL fan and of quarterbacks, go watch it. Dude, I want to see, I don't know if they finished it, but the house that Mahomes and his family were building in season 1, I want to see that house, because when they were out there and they were saying, this is going to be over here and this is, it was so much land. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what that house is going to be like. That thing, it's got to be wonderful. I don't like I said, I don't know if they finished, because my main focus was, let me make sure I get the quarterback before the show tonight.
I'm pretty sure they're done by now, considering the first season that Patrick Mahomes was on was them winning the Super Bowl against my Eagles. So, and that was 3 seasons ago. So,
I mean, as big as that house was that they were working on, I'm hoping they're done by now. But yeah, so yes, quarterback was definitely worth the watch. Absolutely.
You want to roll into your homework, or you go with just talking about quarterback?
So my homework, and I won't necessarily be as long-winded with it as I was with
So we got time. Look, it's just us tonight. The ladies pretty much said y'all on your own. So
right, which I really should badmouth a certain person's team, considering my Falcons are playing them in a couple of days.
I mean, we're gonna get to that when we get to NFL stuff, which is pretty much after your homework.
So for my homework, I'm certain that the people who watch our show know the name Ayesha Curry, Steph Curry's wife.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see the interview that she gave, but I did watch Jemele Hill's commentary on the interview. And apparently in the interview, Ayesha Curry dared to say, I want my own life outside of being Steph Curry's wife. She dared to want to be her own person and have a life other than just being the wife of an NBA player. How dare you, woman, want something else other than to be the wife of an NBA player? How dare you?
Let me guess.
The troglodytes, oh my God, like they
the Hotep woman, right, you should be supporting your man type Negroes was all up in arms, like someone stabbed them in the side.
And she didn't say, in my opinion, she didn't say anything that was wrong. It's not like she was up there talking trash about Steph. She wasn't dogging him out. All she said was, because they talked about, again, this is Jemele Hill's commentary, but she did play a couple of clips from the actual interview. And the clips I saw of the interview that she did, she essentially talked about how they were very young when they got married.
Mm-hmm.
They had their first child within a year of them getting married. So she's got all these big life shifts in such a short amount of time that she lost track of doing the things that she wanted to do. Because she also said when she was younger, she never saw herself as the little girl who just wanted to have the dream wedding and grow up and get married and have kids. She didn't even want kids. When she was younger, she wanted to focus on her career because there was no Steph Curry at the time. So she was like, all right, let me go to school, get a job. She was focusing on her acting. She moved out to LA, had done a few acting jobs, and was on her way to being an actress. Now, I've never seen her in anything, so I don't know how good she was. But what I have seen of the woman, of Ayesha Curry, in the things that she has done, she seems like the kind of person who she is going to do her homework and completely throw herself into the thing that she wants. That's the kind of person I think she is. But again, got married, kid within a year, and looking at the ages of her kids, I want to say the max amount of time between kids might have been 2 years, maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there's a 5-year gap between the oldest and the second.
Oh, is it that much?
Because there's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
There's only 3 kids. I think the short gap is between the second daughter and his son and the son.
Okay.
Because the son is the youngest.
But yeah, she was essentially saying, because things were happening so fast, she had, again, she had to adjust because now she's got kids she's got to take care of.
Right.
And
because remember all the years that they were in the finals initially, that
Riley was there with them.
Press conferences.
Man, I love that little girl at those press conferences. That was just too damn adorable.
Yeah, I think Riley was 5 when they had the second kid.
Okay.
Because Riley's like almost 10 now.
Man, so all of this to say, the troglodytes, the hoteps, whatever we're gonna call them, they are just like, you should be happy just being Steph Curry's wife. Why do you need anything else other than him and the money that he brings in to take care of his family? And I'm just like,
they do realize at some point Steph ain't gonna play basketball no more, right?
Right. And even if he played forever, why would an adult not want to have their own life?
I guess she's supposed to sit back and kick her feet up and live off, his endorsements and residuals and whatnot, and had to ease.
And then if she were to do that, then they're gonna dog her out for doing that. So she can't win in this situation. Like these fools are dogging her out for wanting her own life. Let her decide, okay, I'm not going to have my own life and I'm just going to be his wife and live off with him and this and that. Then they're going to start dogging her out for that. She can't win. But all of that to say, she wants some things for herself, independent of her husband. Anybody with a brain would say, you should have some things that are just yours, independent from your husband. You should have your own life. You should have something going on so that you're not just sitting in the stands with the other players' wives. Because I'm willing to bet the other players' wives have got something going on, but you don't hear these troglodytes going on and about them. So that leads me to ask the question, and this one I genuinely don't know the answer to. Why are they so focused on Ayesha Curry and what's going on with her versus anybody else?
That's easy. You said it at the top. She had the audacity to actually say it out loud.
So yeah, that's the kind of thing where I'm just kind of like, we got to stop this, man. Like we've got to stop policing the desires and wants of other people. If what somebody wants has nothing to do with you, why are you trying to stop them from doing it? Let this woman.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, this is why Black women always say Black men don't support them. Yeah. Stuff like this.
Let this woman have her own life, because I do not believe, and granted, I've never been married, so for this particular thing, I'm talking kind of secondhand information. I do not believe any one person can get 100% of what they need from their spouse. I wholeheartedly believe your spouse can fulfill probably the vast majority of your wants and needs, but again, having your own career. Unless you and your spouse have a business together and that business is what you want to do, it's not going to be the thing you care the most about. Or maybe she wants to go back to school and, I don't know, get a PhD in chemical engineering. I don't know. But yes, having things independent of her husband, one, is a good thing because she is still her own person. And two, the woman probably is amazing at whatever the thing is she wants to go and do. So shut up and be supportive. Jesus, man.
You good now?
These people get on my nerves.
I mean, who doesn't?
No, everybody doesn't get on my nerves. Not everybody. A lot of people.
The general populace does.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is the general populace. Yeah.
The general populace does.
I got that out. I'm good now. I'm good.
All right, cool. Oh gosh, we're gonna close out with all types of craziness that happened since the last time, because literally days after our last show, I mean just days, I can't even. Let's just say a certain segment of the population was laughing their butts off because we know how another segment of the population is going to react. Este is Bad Bunny. Oh, damn it, I did it again.
Now, I will say this. Had you shown me that picture before all of this happened, I would not have known that was Bad Bunny. I've heard some of his songs. I'm familiar with his music, but I wouldn't have known what he looked like.
Okay.
And because when they announced it,
even when you come to the wrestling pay-per-views, you don't watch wrestling that often. So he has actually wrestled.
Yeah. But again, when they announced that it was Bad Bunny, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Because again, being familiar with his music, I know he doesn't perform his songs in English.
The vast majority of the songs are, let's put it this way. There is English spoken in some of his songs.
Yes.
But even those songs are more like 80-20 Spanish to English.
Yep. So again, I knew a certain segment of the population was about to lose their shit.
I mean,
stuff
happened, and there were things.
I mean, we got people saying you should have an American performing at the Super Bowl, and then I'm like, somebody went down a list of all the other non-Americans that are performing. Like,
pretty much the last 7 acts we've had at the Super Bowl, minus Kendrick Lamar. Before, like the 7 acts before Kendrick Lamar.
Right. Well,
Rihanna, Shakira, U2, The Who, Rolling Stones. Right. None of them cats are American.
None of them. Not a single one. And yet, and then who is it? Oh my God! And then the I wish I'd have went and looked up what she called her, but the bleach. Wait, am I going bleach blonde bad body?
Yeah. Oh gosh, we ain't. No, let's not mention her in any regard whatsoever.
Well, no. Only in the fact that there's a bill that she tried to get passed before the Super Bowl to demand. It was something about either demanding. She wanted to demand that we make English the official language of the United States and demand that the NFL not have him perform. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So shenanigans. Good luck with that. Yeah. So English already is the default language of the United States.
So it's not official. It's not official. Like there's no document that actually says, unless something has happened in the last couple of years that I'm not aware of, there's no document that actually says English is our official language. It's just the default language because the people who came to this country spoke English.
Yeah, of course.
And I say that only because there are some other countries who actually have their official language in their governing documents.
Yeah.
But America did not do that.
So, I mean, even still, if English is the official language, so what? Doesn't mean everybody has to speak it.
That part.
Look, understand that I'm learning Japanese for 2 reasons. So I can watch my anime without subtitles. And so I can talk to other folk behind folk back. In front of their face. Those are the 2 reasons I'm learning Japanese. So, yeah, that's just me. I'm pretty sure you saw this.
Yep.
And for those who can't see it too well, it said bro got his wish. Earlier this year, February 11th, 2025, this young brother posted, all these white people mad about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance. I hope next year they get Bad Bunny performing the whole set in Spanish. It's about to happen. And I'm praying that he doesn't perform any song with English in it at all. Literally, like that brother said, the whole set is Spanish, no English.
The only The only English to me that I hope is spoken is, I know he's got a song with Doechii.
Nope, we don't need that.
I would like to see her perform more.
That's fair.
So I would definitely be in favor of her being there to come on for that song. And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't he also have a song with? At any rate, he's got a couple of songs with features of English speaking artists.
He does.
And
he does.
The only reason I want to see those songs is because those featured artists are Black women.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That is a fair ask. Again, I still want the whole set in Spanish.
Yeah.
But no, even more than that, I want the whole set in Spanish, and I hope the SAP button don't work.
Doesn't the NFL have a certain amount of control over that?
I'm
almost. No. I want to say that,
because
if your program.
So because it's the Super Bowl, there are broadcast teams there from like normally 30 some odd different countries.
Yeah.
So there will be an announced team covering the game, speaking solely in Spanish. Like one of the funniest things that happened after this past year's Super Bowl was the replays of Cooper DeJean's interception return for touchdown done by the French team, the Portuguese team, the Brazilian team,
right?
Like all these different languages, a Chinese team, and I think Korean as well. So I basically watched that pick in every single language I could find.
But so here's my question. Oh, damn. Third quarter, 1:40 to go, 72-58 Vegas.
Yeah, I mean it might be a sweep again.
But as far as the SAP button, doesn't the broadcast have to actually, like there's some technical stuff in there that has to happen in order for you pressing that button to work? And if the NFL or whoever has control over it, I hope they turn it off. Just turn it off. Don't let them do
like show up to work that day. Show up to work that day if you monitor that button performance and like make sure it doesn't work.
Right. Let it work all the way up until the performance actually happens, so that they just proceed as normally, and right before the show starts, unplug.
Absolutely. And of course, you know shenanigans had to ensue. Here's one of them.
Hola, Comatose, listen, it has been brought to my attention that a lot of you all are upset that Bad Bunny was announced as a performer at the Sports Ball half game time show on the 50-point line. Listen, I don't know much about tennis, but what I do know that you have to kick a field goal in order to cross the home run line. Go Birds. And for you all that are in your feelings, know this, we do not care. You do not live here alone, all right? And the sooner you all realize that, the better it will be. Now, I haven't learned Spanish since high school when I took Spanish 1 and 2, and then I went into American Sign Language in college. But what I do know, I'm downloading the app, and I'm getting to it, and I'm going to be there shaking my hips. Do you hear me pumping my fists, right? I want you all to take your opinions. Since your feelings are so fragile, I want you to fold them up and then put them in your El Aso. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Why? Because we are so unserious. It's so
right. Oh man.
She basically said it all. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I chose to open the show the way I did. Because why the hell not?
Right. Now see.
Oh man. Look, I don't use my Spanish that much. My grandfather spoke it when I was a kid. I understand it. Yes, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school. I took another 2 years in college. I don't get to use my Spanish. Again, un poquito. Un poquito.
No, you speak a little bit more than un poquito. 6 years, that's a little bit better than un poquito.
That was 6 years, like 25-ish years ago. So we talking like 91 to like 98. No more after that. So yeah, that's the extent of it. That's the, like I said, I got Duolingo on my phone, and every now and then I go into it, be like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I can translate this sentence. But yeah, that's about it though. That's about it. So yeah, I think that's all I got out as far as shenanigans with the NFL. But let's get into Mark Sanchez.
Oh my goodness. Dude.
Oh man. Oh gosh. I'm still reading what happened and everything. But the short version is that he saw somebody taking, I guess, disposing of grease, because he was supposed to be broadcasting the Las Vegas Raiders and Indianapolis Colts game this past Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, the Raiders got their doors blown off. It wasn't pretty to look at, for those who want to know about that. But he was in Indianapolis for that, and how he came upon this gentleman who's literally his job is to go around picking up disposable, grease that's been thrown out or whatever like that. And he runs up on boy and like starts attacking him and tackles him to the ground. So, and this is I think they said a 67-year-old man.
Yeah, I forget the exact age, but he's definitely an older gentleman.
It was definitely an older gentleman, late 60s, early 70s. Don't quote me on the age. I'm fudging that. But why are you running up on the old dude, first of all? Why are you running up on somebody 30 years your senior?
Right. And as
for any reason,
professional athlete, you can hit harder than your average person.
So he's swinging on his man. This dude is trying to get him off of him. So, like somebody I know, he carries a blade. And he pulled out his knife. Not like actual blade, not Marvel Comics here, but he pulled out his knife and he proceeded to stab the unholy hell out of Mark Sanchez until Sanchez rolled up off of him and then stabbed him again for good measure to make sure he would not get up, because Sanchez was trying to get up and come after him again, having been stabbed multiple times.
Yeah.
So he stabbed him again to make sure he stayed down for good measure. Those are the details that came out over the last couple of days, because leading up to the weekend, all we knew was that Mark Sanchez was stabbed and arrested.
And it was really odd how quiet they were keeping this, because the way they were talking about it, I'm sitting here wondering, excuse me, if it had it been a domestic issue and they just weren't releasing the other person's name, but like, this thing has just been eerily quiet, almost as if we're trying to cover something up. And that's the part that I don't understand, because typically
they were trying to protect him to some extent.
Typically, if everybody involved is an adult and nobody's been unalived, names are released. So when they didn't release that set of details about the other person, I just found that very, very odd.
Understatement.
So yeah, and even now, when I look the story up, it still feels like every article I've read, they're working very hard to edit the amount of information they release about this story. And again, why are we being so secretive about this?
No idea.
I don't know.
Because like I said, the initial reporting, and we're talking about last week, Thursday, Friday, when this came out, going into the weekend. That all the story said was he was stabbed and he was arrested.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out, well, this is interesting framing, because that wasn't just the headline. That was literally what was written in the story. Because again, headlines are made to get you, to draw you in and like stir something. But I'm one of those people that the headline is interesting enough, I'm going to read the whole damn article. Right. So I'm scanning every single article, because literally the headlines are all the same. Sanchez stabbed and arrested. Sanchez stabbed and arrested. Sanchez stabbed. It didn't matter the outlet. CNN,
right?
New sports news outlets, Variety, whatever you want, Rolling Stone, all of them said the same thing. That was the same headline, and none of them had any details. He's in the hospital. He's been arrested. He has multiple lacerations. Details still forthcoming.
And they ain't been forthcoming.
And nothing came out until Monday. Now, I didn't watch the Vegas Colts game, so I don't know who the broadcast team that they got to fill in last minute for that, because what happens is these assignments are pretty much done in pairs. The former sports player is kind of like the analyst, if you will. And then there's the network person who was the play-by-play commentator. So Sanchez was the analyst, having been the former player. I forget who his partner normally is on Fox, because he's done a couple of Eagles games in the past and whatnot. But yeah, I would love to know who they pulled off last minute to like fill that spot, or they had had his partner up there solo.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, as more and more details are coming out, and again, now it's like there was the fight was pretty much over the parking spot. When the cops, did arrest him, he reeked of alcohol, which is also not good. So, I say all that to say that, because that then brings up more charges, because if he reeked of alcohol and they were fighting over a parking spot, that means he was driving under the influence as well. So not only do you have assault and battery, you have DUI.
And what's odd about one of the things,
and drunk and disorderly.
One of the other things to me that's odd about this is I don't remember ever really hearing of any foolishness or police interaction or anything from Sanchez's career.
No.
So what's going on? Like, did you just, now that you're no longer playing, you decided I'm gonna be a bad boy?
I got nothing.
And I say that only because typically former athletes that are having issues involving the law have had issues involving the law in the past.
Yes.
Typically their first encounter isn't after their career is done. So that's why this to me just seems a little strange. And again, I think this is going to be one of those stories that until everything is known, it's just going to be a little dribble of information here, a little dribble over here. You might find out that it's going to be, I don't know. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there's a document somewhere talking about all of this stuff with redaction marks on it to say, nope, you can't talk about this. Nope, you can't talk about this. Nope. I'm like,
I don't think it's gonna go that far, but I just found it. So his partner for the broadcast was Chris Myers.
Okay.
He did acknowledge the incident before the start of the game, and his replacement was Brady Quinn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, former NFL quarterback. And I think Brady Quinn normally does college football broadcasting.
Yeah.
So that's what they brought in as his replacement. The gentleman that stabbed him is 69 years old. Sanchez is 38, if anyone cares. Yeah. When this all comes out, this is going to be, because it's still, again, there's still stuff coming out. This is not like, oh yeah, this is what happened and it's done. Like, no, there's still details pouring out day by day. This is not a thing that just happened and it's over with and it's past. Like, but it's still wild as hell, though.
Yes. Yes. That's why as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait, he got stabbed and he got arrested. Because I kept thinking, I was like, that has to be an incorrect headline. It's got to be he stabbed somebody and got arrested. Right? That's what happened. No. He got stabbed and he got
arrested.
Okay, all right. I don't know what's going on because y'all ain't giving me no details, but that's an interesting one.
As far as the first 5 weeks of the season, your Falcons had to bye this week. Probably of the four of us here who sport a team hardcore, you're one half of the contingent that had a good week because Qiana's Saints got their first one of the season over the New York Giants, while Candaysee's Bills and my Eagles took their first L's on Sunday. So how are you feeling 5 weeks in?
I am feeling pretty good. I'm I'm still disappointed in that loss that we took to the Panthers. Not necessarily because we lost, but because of how we lost. That never should have happened. That just never should have happened. Other than that, I feel pretty good about the schedule. I mean, we're currently in second place behind Tampa Bay.
You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the Saints are in last place. Yeah, we're 2-2. I think we really should be 3-1, but I'll take 2-2 for now because it could be worse. I mean, we could be 1-3 or 1-4. So there is that. Yeah. I have really enjoyed watching the continued development of Michael Penix Jr. I personally think he's gotten better every game. The other thing I love is they're getting Kyle Pitts more involved in the offense because that man was drafted way too high to have been underutilized as he's been these last couple of years. Because I think we drafted him either I think it was 8th, if I'm not mistaken, and he's the highest drafted tight end in NFL history. Hey, we got to make better use out of him. I mean, and to the point where I get why when you said earlier about the show wide receiver, about them having a couple of tight ends on the show, because these days your good tight ends are as athletic as some of your receivers are. They're just not as fast.
Fair.
And Kyle Pitts to me is one of those dudes that if he had a little bit more speed on him, he'd be a wide receiver instead of a tight end. Because he's got the body of a wide receiver. But again, I'm just glad the Falcons are getting him more involved. Even if he's not necessarily scoring a ton of touchdowns, he's out there blocking. He's coming up with, he's getting short yardage situations where we need it. He had a couple of deep yardage situations that he picked up. So it's just good to see him more involved in the offense, especially since, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last year of his contract.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I want them to re-sign him, though.
I got a question for you.
Go for it.
Aside from his rookie year when y'all was like playing around with shenanigans and whatnot.
Yeah.
Has Bijan Robinson ever had less than 10 carries in a game?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look at that game against the Panthers last week because he didn't have the best rushing game. So I don't know how many touches he had that game, but remove that one game, and no, he has not had any fewer than 10 touches.
Carries, not touches. Carries.
I'm sorry, carries, not touches. Carries. Yes,
specifically carries. Okay.
Yeah.
Why I asked that? Because like I said, my team lost Sunday. I'm not upset at the L because no one's going perfect these days. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, I have this photo up because see, that dude on the top half of the photo, he is currently public enemy number 1 in the city of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And when I say that people want his head on a pike, that is an understatement.
Oh, wow.
His name is Kevin Patullo.
Okay.
He is the offensive coordinator of my Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
Okay. You see that brother down there on the bottom half on the left side with the 26 on his chest?
I know who that is.
Who that is?
That would be Mr. Barkley.
Okay. Yeah. So Sunday, Saquon had 6 carries for 30 yards.
What?
In the entire game.
What the hell? No, that can't be right.
Yep. Check the box score. You can go to ESPN.com and pull up the box score right now.
That's not enough carries and yards to jump backwards over somebody.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you remember him jumping backwards over somebody?
Yeah. That was a hell of a play.
So you figure he's like a spectacular talent, should be getting a whole lot of carries, right?
Absolutely.
At least 10 to 15, minimum 10 to 15.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that genius on the top half of the photo, he ain't do that.
So what you're saying is we need to send him to New York.
I mean, let's put it this way. He had 5 carries in the first half and 1 in the second. That 1 carry in the second half was on the second play of the second half that we ran.
Did he bench him for the rest of the game?
No, Saquon was out there. He caught a couple of passes, but he didn't give him the rock to run.
I'm sorry. What is his position again?
Running back.
And you're passing to him more than you're handing him the ball?
In the second half of that game on Sunday? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That makes no.
Understand that we were winning that game at one point 17-3 before we lost it 21-17.
What the hell?
Now you see those 2 brothers in the other photo across from Saquon?
Uh-huh.
Their names are Devontae Smith and AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow in the first 4 games of the season, they had a combined 20 catches.
What?
Between the 2 of them.
4 games.
4 games combined, 20 catches.
So that's only 2.5 catches each per game.
Mm-hmm. And again, the guy above them is the offensive coordinator. It's his job to make sure that the plays are being called so that they can all get the rock. Now, for anybody who's shouting Jalen Hurts, no, we ain't putting this on Jalen Hurts because Jalen's running the plays that are being called.
Right. I mean, there's only so much control he has over changing plays and whatnot.
Can he audible at the line of scrimmage? Absolutely. Does he? Pretty much every single play because the defense shows him something different than what he initially expects. The problem I have is, and again, it's not just the OC, but he is about a good 80% of the problem with the Philadelphia offense. For anybody asking, why does it look weird? Why doesn't it look like last year? This is what happens when the offensive coordinator who ran your offense, guided you, helped get you to and win a Super Bowl, takes a head coaching job in New Orleans.
You mean kind of like when we lost Kyle Shanahan?
No, I said won the Super Bowl.
That wasn't necessary, James.
It wasn't, but
that wasn't
you did it to yourself.
That wasn't necessary.
I mean,
that was uncalled for.
Sorry, not sorry. If it makes you feel any better, Shanahan still hasn't won a Super Bowl, and he's been twice.
Okay.
Oh gosh. All I'm saying is there's too much talent on this offense. And yes, the offensive line is currently banged up. Philadelphia's getting ready to play the New York Giants tomorrow night, and we're going to be without our best guard. Landon Dickerson is not going to play. So we're going to have backups a backup and a replacement at guard, because the all-pro guard we had last year, or at least borderline all-pro guard, Pro Bowl guard we had last year, left to go to play with the Chargers. So we have two brand new guards who are going to be playing tomorrow night against the New York Giants, which is not good considering we're going up against one of the best interior linemen in the league, and Dexter Lawrence. I like to say the Giants are a good team to kind of get our mojo back against, because we can flush Sunday out, the bad taste of Sunday out of our mouths real quick. But
I mean, the Giants are 1-4 right now.
Yeah, So you remember how in the beginning of the season where somebody was trying to be like, y'all should smoke the Saints, and I had to calm that person down and be like, no matter how good or bad either one of y'all are, them games are always crazy.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about everybody in my division. I don't care how good or bad they are, them games are always crazy.
True. Divisional games are always crazy.
So, yeah, I would like us to blow the Giants out, because on paper we should, but that's on paper. This is why they play the games on the field. So I would love for them to flush whatever happens Sunday. Saquon definitely needs more targets, but I'm looking at play calling, and through this time last year, like I can't pick out a single game last season where the Eagles didn't run play action and or RPO at least 5 times in the entire game, right? And right now, through 5 weeks of the season, they may have run play action and or RPO 5 times total this season.
Ooh.
Mind you, that's how a lot of our explosive plays come off, where we're pulling guards and making the defensive end decide whether he's going to, because we're keying the defensive end, letting him run free, because you don't know if Saquon's going to take the rock and follow that pull and tackle or guard, or if Jalen's going to keep the rock and run out the backside.
Yeah.
Right. And then if there's a pass off of that, you already sucked in the linebackers, or if it's play action, the linebackers are up, so there are voids behind them and in front of the safeties. And that type of thing that we were doing at a high level last year, we're just not doing it at all this year. And it's like, this is why the OC gets blamed, because you can't say, well, Jalen, no. If Jalen's getting 2 calls and neither one of those is a call, he can only audible to what's called.
Right.
He can make adjustments as far as like changing routes with the wide receivers, but if the 2 plays are called are a static pass and a static run, meaning like there's no motion, he's dropping back to throw with no making the defense guess or second guess what they're looking at, and he's got to straight up do it all, like that's not how offenses are run.
No.
So,
and you want that motion to see what the defense is going to give you.
That is true, and there's not much of that going on. So yeah,
I'm not even an offensive coordinator, and I know that much.
But yeah, I'm bummed about losing Sunday. Not overly so, because again, I watch every Eagles game. We could easily be 0-5 right now. With the way the play calling has been on the, specifically the offensive side, we could easily be 0-5.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But which is why I'm not that bummed out about losing Sunday, because it was bound to happen. Like, again, no one was going through the season perfect, but the way we were playing based on the plays that were called, because the defense is balling. Defense, with the exception of the game against the Rams, where that got out of control early, and then the Buccaneers, which were just two freak plays that both went 70 yards, because we made the Buccaneers work for everything. Defense has been balling. Like I said, they have played their butts off this season, especially with like 5 new players on the defensive side of the ball, 5 new starters, and a void at corner. So, but outside of our own teams, anything that stood out to you as far as the season so far, any wow moments, or like, I can't believe this is actually a thing right now as far as what's happening through 5 weeks?
Not yet.
Really?
The one thing of I can't believe that he's still around is Aaron Rodgers. I'm very surprised that he got signed because I was like, this dude needs to retire.
Well, Pittsburgh is currently 3-1, so
I know, but
he's part of the reason they're 3-1.
But other than that one year that they won the Super Bowl, I don't know. It's yes, Aaron Rodgers won that one Super Bowl, absolutely. But when I look at the rest of his performance, it's almost as if he's always going to get you to the playoffs. You just can't really count on anything after that.
Well, his bugaboo has been Frisco.
Fair, but again, he will get you to the playoffs, which, don't get me wrong, I would love for my team to get back to the playoffs. But it's one thing to get to the playoffs and make a deep run versus, a first round exit or whatnot. And don't get me wrong, I can't, because I hadn't really kept up with Green Bay nor the Jets like that, I couldn't tell you if they were first round exits or no, I'm saying in the past.
Oh, okay.
In the past, I couldn't tell you if they were first round exits or not because I just don't really keep up with those. I didn't keep up with those teams like that. But
Green Bay, no, he would normally win his first playoff game and lose the second one.
But there's something to be said for being in the league for as long as he has. And granted, don't get me wrong, it's not like winning Super Bowls is easy because it's not.
I mean, Tom Brady did it. No, I'm just playing.
Again, there are always two, a master and an apprentice. I'm just saying. Because again, when those two without the other, one of them did better than the other one did.
I mean, sure.
But again, winning a Super Bowl is not easy. So it's not like I'm just going to sit here and say, I expect Rodgers to have like 4 Super Bowls, but it's also something to be said for, all right, playoffs, great. First round, great. Second round, consistent exit. Something's going on. Oh, somebody got hurt. What's going on?
Well, I would say my surprise has to do with 2 AFC teams that no one saw this coming.
Okay.
The Ravens and the Chiefs have a combined 3 wins between them right now. The Ravens are currently sitting at 1-4. The Chiefs are 2-3. If you were to tell me before the season started after 5 weeks, those would be those 2 teams' records, I would have called you a bold-faced lie.
Right.
Now, granted, the last game this past Sunday, the Ravens did not have Lamar Jackson. He was out with a hamstring injury, and he's most likely going to miss their next game as well.
Which I need him to get it together. My fantasy team is suffering without him.
We're going to talk about strategy as far as drafting for fantasy when we get off air. I'm not going to say what I want to say on air because I just want to give you a bit of advice that has helped me throughout the years. I hope it helps you going forward. Because I haven't played fantasy football in over a decade, and I'm better for it. My health and my sanity have blossomed because of it. I feel much better. I enjoy the game a little bit more, not having to constantly obsess about people who don't play for my squad. But yeah,
I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. I'm always going to have heart issues throughout the season. It doesn't matter if I play fantasy football or not.
I mean,
so why not play?
You might want to work on that.
Some enjoyment out of other teams.
You might want to work on that. But if anybody saw this past Monday night's game between the Chiefs and the Jaguars, and you're thinking, oh yeah, the Chiefs are going to get it together, they're going to win, and they did. I mean, they looked like they were going to because they looked like the Chiefs they went up 14-0 early, and it looked like okay, the Chiefs are back. Yeah, they're about to smash the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars was like, hey, this is our house. And look, I know the Jaguars franchise is only 25 years old, 26, 25 years old, because it was 99, 2000, both of them and the Panthers came into the league. Sorry, 30. because they it was 95, 96 around there that they came in the league. Sorry. So yeah, they're about roughly 30 years old. So there's not much history as far as the Jaguars, but again, that fan base is solid. And I can only imagine. I've seen the videos of people in the stands losing their ish on the game-winning touchdown that Trevor Lawrence had. And if you didn't see it, it's like 1st and goal from the 2 with like 50 seconds left, and the Jaguars have no timeouts. And Trevor Lawrence takes the snap from under center. Kind of odd. You're expecting play action, maybe a dive up the middle. Except the offensive lineman steps on his foot and he falls down. And in his first attempt to get up, he falls again. And it's like, ooh, this is going to be the easiest sack the Chiefs had all night. Right. Except nobody on the Chiefs' defensive line is getting through the offensive line of the Jaguars to get to him. So he finally gets to his feet, has the left side of his line literally throw the defensive end out the club, not pushed down. They threw this man 3 feet to the left so Trevor Lawrence could have a lane to run through. And he dove into the end zone.
Look at Trevor Lawrence trying to be relevant again.
I mean, if the stadium had a roof, it would have been blown off. Because the place went nuts. And I still can't believe what I saw, because I was watching the game. It was in shock. But that was insane.
Given Sunday, man.
Or Monday night. And I'm
Monday night, yeah.
And I'm just watching it like, wait, are the Chiefs really going to lose this game? Like, not to take anything away from the Jaguars, but this is like the type of close game the Chiefs normally win. And of course, the game ended, the Chiefs lost, and immediately Sports Talk went to the graphic of last year, Chiefs in one-score games were like 10-0. This year, they're 0-3. And you can't live playing one-score games.
Right.
Because, I mean, you can live doing it, going about 500 year to year to year, because that's pretty much what's expected. Just understand, for every team that's had a season where they won 8 or more one-score games, the pendulum has mercilessly swung the opposite way the very next season in those same one-score games, because you can't keep living that way.
Right.
You just can't. It showed with the Vikings a couple of years ago when they won, like literally all of their 13 wins were like one-score games. And then the very next year they lost every single one-score game they were in. Damn. So yeah, that was the first season that Kirk Cousins was on quarterback. They were losing all those games. The year before, they won all 13 of those games that were one score. So yeah. That's probably what sticks out to me as far as
because I think they started the season 0-6 that year. It was bad, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was bad. But other than that, look, Shador's in the headlines for not playing football. Because yesterday, Joe Flacco was traded from the Browns to the Bengals. And then today, the head coach, Kevin Stefanski of the Browns, refused to name who the backup quarterback is going to be. Now, remember, going into the season, the Browns had Joe Flacco, rookie Dylan Gabriel, rookie Shador Sanders. And the opening day depth chart was Flacco the starter, Dylan Gabriel the backup, Shador third string. So much so that going into this past week's game with 2 weeks ago when they finally made the switch to Dylan Gabriel, they listed Flacco as the backup. Shador was still the 3. And now Flacco's gone and they refuse to name, well, at least as of today, they have not yet named who the backup is.
Right.
Yeah. To say things in Cleveland are a mess is an understatement. And if you believe anything that Myles Garrett said in the offseason as far as wanting to play for a contender And then you saw that he signed the richest contract by a defensive player in the history of the league. Yeah, I have beachfront property in Nebraska if you want some.
Shedeur will be the starting quarterback.
Oh, of course he will before the season's over with.
I'm gonna say week 10.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say week 10 because it and also that's one thing that I love about Shedeur right now is the Sanders family is a very braggadocious family. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because they've all done something to warrant the spotlight. And they do that thing very well. I like the fact that Shedeur has not been the typical braggadocious member of the primetime family because I think he understands it. I think he's finally at and again, this feeling of mine is purely based on what I am not seeing from him. That I wonder if he truly realizes why he fell so far in the draft and is just biding his time because he knows he's going to be the starting quarterback for that team before the year is out. He has just finally figured out, all right, let me just kind of sit and chill for a minute. And again, this is purely based on what I have not seen from him in the stance of his typical braggadocious ways. And I'm not even going to say nature because I don't know how much of that is natural versus the bravado that football players just have at times.
Okay, well, let's see here. The Browns schedule over the next several weeks, they have the Steelers this coming Sunday, the Dolphins the week after that, the Patriots the week after that. Then they have their bye. Then they have the Jets and the Ravens. Those are the next 5 games over the next 6 weeks. So if you're saying he's going to start week 10, then we're looking at either the Ravens or the Raiders because that's what they play after that.
How long is Lamar out?
Again, only 2 weeks. Lamar will be back by then, provided he doesn't get injured again. And again, hamstring injuries are not something that easily go away because if you pay attention to them during the season with wide receivers, it typically takes them 2 to 3 weeks to come back.
I'm going to guess that if Lamar is back and is on top of his game and completely healthy, he decimates the Browns that week, and Shedeur is the starter when they play the Raiders.
It's possible.
Yeah. And again, I want to see him do well. I really do because you know how I feel about black quarterbacks in the NFL. I want to see every black quarter in the NFL do well. And it's just, I have a feeling when he finally gets that number 1 spot, he ain't letting it go.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to cover before we get out of here for the night?
Nah, I think we've covered a good little bit tonight. Wait, you didn't have your homework.
I did my homework. My homework was pretty much everything with the W.
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking that was just our typical work, or not, I shouldn't say our typical. I didn't realize that was your homework. I thought that was one of our mainline topics for tonight.
There was too much with the W going on, trust me.
Understood.
I had more than enough.
But no, I got nothing else other than if you're out there listening and watching live, once we get off, go watch the rest of this game because I've got it on the other screen, but I've got it on mute, and this has been a very good game. I mean, it's 84-83 right now.
I'm gonna disagree with you because I have it on my tablet, which is above my laptop, and another one of the points that Copper and the player, I'm sorry, not Copper, Collier, Nafisa Collier, and the players are peeved about, aside from leadership in the WNBA, is officiating in the WNBA. And just to swing back to that from earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone, if you think that, you know, these women don't play hard, anything like that, I want you to look at every major injury that took place between the All-Star break and to right now, because Nafisa Collier got hurt in their last game of the semifinals of the playoffs. Because there is a level of physicality I expect with basketball.
Yep.
Right? It's just natural. There's going to be bumping, there's going to be, you know, some hard fouls and maybe some rough play. It should never get to the point to where the officials, one, lose control of a game, because I lost count of how many fights broke out this season because the referees refused to call fouls early in the game in the first quarter. And by the fourth quarter, the two players who were involved in said scuffle earlier end up getting ejected in the third or fourth quarter because the bench is clear because they fall on having a brawl.
Yeah.
The refs are terrible. And I don't care if you know a ref in the WNBA, you are related to somebody who's a ref in the WNBA. You can tell them I said they're all trash. These people are by far the worst folks doing their job. And I don't care. This has nothing to do with, it has everything to do with their lack of ability, because they all do something else to where this is a side gig.
Yeah.
And let that sink in. None of these officials are full-time. And it's gotten to the point to where some of these officials look like they've been plucked off the street 5 minutes before the game, given a jersey and said, here, you're going to ref tonight. Because the league doesn't care. Again, remember those statements I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, as far as how Kathy Engelberg, because one of the things she also said was only the losers complain about the officiating. If you've been paying attention to the W this year, every single coach, whether they won or they lost, complained about the officiating.
Yeah.
Several star players who actually won games complained about the officiating. And it got to the point to where sometimes I didn't know if I was watching the WNBA or women's wrestling on WWE, because that's how physical some of these games got. And I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. Like, Vegas, the game that's on right now in game 3, as we're recording live, is currently tied at 86. Vegas was up over 20 points towards the end of the third quarter. And Phoenix has come out and pretty much played bully ball to the extent of the referees swallowing the whistle. And you can say, oh, well, you know, they're just a more physical team. No, there are about 5 fouls that should have been called that the referees pretty much just like play through. Because I've seen Asia Wilson knocked to the floor 5 times and not get called for a whistle. I've seen DeWanna Bonner knocked to the floor twice. I've seen Alyssa Thomas knocked to the floor. Kalia Copper's been knocked to the floor. Like, these are the star players of both teams who've literally been knocked to the floor, and the referees have not called a foul. Where there's clearly contact, there's clearly a foul, and it's not like they don't have position. They have position. They're just not making calls. So if you see a headline tomorrow by the end of the series, physical play, blah, 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 and someone got hurt because of said physical play, I will not be surprised.
I mean, we've already lost. I didn't see who it was. I didn't catch their jersey before they left. But we had somebody got carried off.
Someone did get carried off. Yes, I couldn't tell who it was. And it may have been DeWanna Bonner, because I don't see her out there right now.
Yeah.
So, well, that's going to do it for this month's Geek Speak on Sports. We thank y'all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe.
Even get the bad mouth of Buffalo Bills, man.
Well, that's your fault. You can do it next month.
No, but then Candaysee will be here to argue with me.
She's going to argue regardless.
Can't argue when she ain't here, but that's my fault. You're right.
Please like and subscribe wherever you're following us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We'll be back next month. Hopefully, the other half of our quartet, Candaysee and Qiana, will join us. And we will see you all next month. Hope all your teams do well and win. And let's pray for no more injuries.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Later.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.